Have you ever seen a picture of a brand new, multi-billion-dollar airport just sitting empty? It's wild, but it happens way more than you'd think. I mean, these mega projects are just mind-bogglingly complex. You've got thousands of people, countless moving parts. Really, it's a perfect recipe for disaster. But, and this is the key, it doesn't have to be. So today, let's break down the secret to running a massive project like this and actually, succeeding.
And that quote, right there, nails it. It really is like walking a tightrope. On one side, you have this triumphant ribbon-cutting ceremony, and on the other, a bottomless money pit. So what's the one thing that keeps these massive projects from falling into chaos? Well, it all comes down to having a really powerful system for managing the madness. The real question is, how do you build one?
Okay, so first things first, we have to understand the enemy we're up against. And the thing is, the enemy isn't some villain in a suit or a rival company. Nope, it's the natural state of any huge project. Just absolute, unfiltered chaos. And just look at this list. Each one of these is a potential landmine. Seriously, you've got multiple government agencies and they all have their own rules. You've got tons of contractors and vendors, each with their own priorities. And often, there's no single shared vision of what success even looks like. Without a strong framework holding it all together, well, conflicts and delays aren't just likely, they're pretty much inevitable.
All right, so how do you tame this beast? I mean, you can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best, right? No. You have to build a system specifically designed to conquer the chaos. And that system, the hero of our story today, is called PMO governance.
Now, when you hear the word governance, you might be thinking, ugh, bureaucracy and red tape. But that's not what this is about at all. It's about one thing, clarity. See, PMO governance is just a system that gives everyone on the project a single source of truth. It makes it super clear who does what, it tracks progress, and it makes sure everybody is pulling in the same direction. It's really about taking control back from the chaos.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it, the project's backbone. I mean, what does a backbone do? It provides strength, it provides structure, and it allows a super complex body to move with purpose. And that is exactly what good governance does for a megaproject. It holds everything together so it can stand tall against all that pressure and complexity.
Okay, so we've established we need a backbone. But how do you actually build one? Well, the good news is there's a blueprint, and we're going to break it down into 3 simple, actionable keys to success.
So it really just boils down to these 3 things. First, you get everybody aiming at the same target. Simple enough, right? Second, you give them the tools to actually see where they're going. And third, this is a big one. You create a culture that balances freedom with discipline. All right, let's dive into each one.
All right, step 1. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is that this has to happen first. We're talking before a single shovel even hits the ground. You have to get every single stakeholder, and I mean everyone, from the big government agencies down to the smallest vendor, all in the same room to define what success looks like. This part is completely non-negotiable.
And trust me, putting in this effort up front pays off like tenfold down the line. When everyone knows exactly what their role is, what they're responsible for, and what's expected of them, you just eliminate all that confusion that leads to arguments, finger-pointing, and, you guessed it, those dreaded delays. You're basically building a unified front from day one.
Okay, so once everyone is on the same page, you need the actual machinery to keep the whole thing on track. And that's where these structured delivery frameworks come in. If governance is the backbone, think of these frameworks as the project's nervous system. They're carrying all the important messages back and forth, making sure every single part is working together in harmony.
This is basically your project's command center. You've got dashboards that give you that crucial bird's-eye view of everything happening in real time. You have progress tracking that lets you spot potential problems before they become huge crises. And you have regular governance meetings to keep everyone communicating and accountable. And again, this isn't about micromanagement. It's about smart, proactive leadership. And that brings us to our third and final step. This one might be the most nuanced piece of the whole puzzle. So you've got your alignment, you've got your tools, now you have to manage the actual people doing the work. And this is all about finding that perfect, delicate balance between freedom and control.
And this really lays out that chord tension perfectly. On one hand, you have to empower your teams. These are the experts, right? You need to give them the freedom and autonomy to innovate and solve problems. But on the other hand, the project absolutely needs strict standards and quality controls to succeed. The best governance and the best leaders find a way to empower their teams within that disciplined framework. It's not a choice between the two, it's about making them work together.
So look, we've been talking about a massive airport project, but the real power of this backbone idea is that it doesn't just apply to billion-dollar construction sites, it applies to almost anything. So let's bring this home and talk about how you can apply this principle in your own world.
And this really gets to the heart of it. If you remember one thing, make it this. PMO governance is not just a boring checklist you have to tick off. It is the very backbone of success. It's a mindset built on clarity, accountability, and strength.
So it doesn't matter if you're building a skyscraper, launching a new app, or even just organizing a major company event. The principles are exactly the same. Get everyone aligned, implement the right frameworks, and then empower your people to do their best work. That is the backbone of success, no matter the scale.
So, here's the real test. I want you to think about your own organization, your own projects. Do they have a strong backbone, or are they more like a collection of wobbly parts hoping to stay upright? Is your governance a source of strength, or is it just a bureaucratic nightmare that gets in the way? And maybe the most important question of all is, what are you going to do about it?
Because if you build a strong backbone, you really can build anything. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.